Go.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to see you again, this time on video.
I know, wow. Well, they're all so ugly.
So, it's been a long time since our meeting in Ipsigrock. How do you feel?
Amazing. Like, it's just so good to be back. I'm currently a little bit ill, but that's not going to stop me from having a great time in Italy.
So last time we see each other, you were playing Ipsigrock. Was your previous album, and you did a great show, by the way. So everything amazing, and now you are here with your new Microtronic one. First of all, let me say amazing one. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
In that day, you were telling me that already you were talking about Microtronic. And you said, yeah, we want to go really electronic in this time. And that you were having a lot of influences before, and also 9-inch nail styles. But in this album, there are thousands, really, there is no track that is similar to another, honestly. So I think it's a very interesting thing. So, which are, if you can say, and you can tell about this electronic swing, what is the most striking thing that drove you to this album?
I think the last album did have a lot of electronic sort of nods and influence that it wore on its sleeve, but we didn't have the technical know-how of how to sort of get there. We'd only just started sort of, as musicians outside of bedroom, exploring how we would make music in an electronic style, maybe putting down the guitars, and I think especially Ryan started listening to, it's weird speaking on his behalf, but started listening to a lot more electronic music, and I followed suit really. So then I think it just fell into the way that we started writing as a band, and we purposely didn't write in a practice room anymore. It was more demos on computers and stuff, and that just was intrinsically more electronic and more dance-driven. So I think that's where the initial ideas and concepts for the record came from.
Yeah, but sorry, go first.
I was just going to say, yeah, it was just, I think electronic music was just a lot more of what we're listening to, and I find it a lot more interesting. Like at the moment, like there's a lot more directions and avenues to go down with guitar music. I feel like you can be a bit constrained to one like sound, but like electronic music just feels like it's an endless pool of like creativity.
I might say that if you look at the tracks and compare to the previous one, it's like the previous one were like dreamy, like gosh, it's really super dreamy and so on. Because of the guitars, I think also. And then when you get when you get into Microtronic, it's really like the deepest phase of the REM, because you go into this sort of black hole and going different. This is what I feel when I listen to it completely. But I might say that there was a point in which I was like, I'm listening to a Sigur Rós song. I don't remember now what was the track. It was like literally my feeling immediately was like, there are so many things inside. Literally.
Thank you.
That's such a high compliment.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that we've always tried to do is, we're all such big music fans, and I think it would do us a disservice to, pick a genre and just stick to it. It's always been so much more fun to fuse those influences of what we love, this electronic music, and as you said, like Sigur Rós, something like dreamy and soundscapey and epic, whereas like why can't that exist in the same world as like an AFX Twin song or something like that? Like that's what I find interesting now, we find interesting in music, and I think it was fun to explore that, and it was something that we'd never done on the previous records, so it felt interesting and sort of exciting and also challenging for us to take on board.
Yeah, sure. And do you think this is a place you arrived at and you want to stick around here, or you think that evolution after this?
I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable in this. I remember saying that like next album I'd just love to do like an acoustic album, but just like minimal electronic stuff. But it's just ironic that you get to the point of doing electronic stuff. You're like, oh, I miss the guitars.
That's something that happens.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just. I think electronic music will always be such a strong part of the writing process. But yeah, I actually have no idea what the next step is going to be. I'm just sitting around. I'm scared.
But after this jump, I understand that my thing was, and then what's next? So that's it. But yeah, and just like to let's go to the creative part, because you've been putting a lot of effort also for the promotion. You created the IG page with this sort of I don't know, research and development stuff. Yeah, it was very fun looking at it actually, and at a certain point I was thinking, oh, why am I here for betters? Like, if you want to get tested or whatever. But it was something that. So how was the idea was born, and what was the point of trying to have this engagement? If what is related also to the idea of Microtronic as well.
I don't know. We just messing about with it. Just thought it was a way to sort of like give it, I don't know, a fun way to market it rather than like, oh, here's a piece of it. Instead, just sort of make it. It was just, I don't know, just a way of just dicking about really, and then just making some. Our sitcom's on the way as well. It's called Four Lads. It's just like a little 30-minute episode. We've been for season 1's now finished.
It was stuff like we'd seen other bands sort of like attempt to do sort of an interesting marketing thing. The one that springs to mind is like when Nine Inch Nails did the Year Zero release and stuff like that, when they told a lot of people that the world was ending and stuff like that, and took a specific group of people like to a gig in the middle of nowhere. Like, I found that so interesting. I think like as being for idiots from Hull rather than like a giant fucking heavy metal electronic band. Yeah, it's not quite the same budget, so we thought,
It's been £8.99 on that campaign.
Yeah. So we just thought, like, how can we scale it back and how can we sort of make it fun for people that, you know, are interested in what we have to say. It was fun for us to sort of mess about behind the scenes.
I think a lot of it was just like stuff and daft ideas about previously. I mean, it's nice to kind of actually do something just a bit different rather than just be like, here's an album.
Yeah, I think the disturbing element of it all, like, because there was a lot of like influence from like stuff like Black Mirror, like all the like
Definitely.
and like that kind of, I don't know, that kind of like disturbing. I hate using campaign or marketing, but it's not that. It's like the ideas behind like just being brainwashed by this company. It was just too like funny not to approach. And I think we were just all got such a weird, daft sense of humour.
But that was your
it was
theme, like the lyrics, wasn't
yeah, like dystopia.
it? Yeah.
Had you been like doing it by your own, like by yourself? Do you have like team?
No, it's just all.
No, it's just us. No.
Amazing guys, it was really realistic.
Yeah, and we kind of scared ourselves with that.
Well, no, but and that's also the reason behind the name Microtronic, or was like.
I think you
Yeah, you know, I came up. It was a drum machine that I used on the record alert. Before we started the sessions, our producer Alex brought about this synth called a synth plant, which uses AI to like recreate sounds, but like really wrong. And I used it loads, but I didn't really like it. And then the same company had this different program called Microtronic. And I just downloaded it because I thought the name was cool, and it was a drum sequencer, and then it was just beautiful, and I loved it.
And they said like I like the
sound.
The sound, and I'm putting it as a
Yeah.
title.
It was just like an ode to that company, really. Yeah.
But after that, you now have this kind of. I mean, you literally give a great sweep to your sound. How do you imagine your playing this one? Because what I was thinking is that I don't know what to expect for the next show.
I think it's a nice mix, isn't it, really? There's a lot more dynamics to it, and it's great kind of implementing the electronic stuff, and we've spent a lot of time in the practice room trying to get the balance right, and, you know, try and do as much of that ourselves rather than relying on like backing tracks and all that type of stuff. So it hopefully still sounds quite organic live, and, you know, it still has maybe the same energy that the Fair's kind of like more like rock stuff does. So we're trying to incorporate a bit of that, and it's the most fun set we've ever had.
Yeah, it's the most fun to play. Because it's like, usually it's obviously like write music and then take it to the studio, whereas this felt like a lot more studio written. So then it was like we wrote music and then you had to learn it. So there was like a nice, interesting like element of trying to like figure out how to do it live. And then when it actually clicked, it was like, oh shit, it actually sounds good, and it's like the most fun I've ever had to play it.
There was the great moment, I can't remember which gig it was, after the festival, was like, it was all piss playing, I was like, we can play a piss now.
Yeah, exactly. Because we had to start drinking, we had to stop drinking to play it, and now it's like,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
get the rum on. Don't drink, kids, until you're 18.
No, indeed. But the idea was really like what you expect from the people who come to your show and listen to the album live. Like, so it should be like a soft rave, what it looks like.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's been really fun because some gigs you play, like some gigs you come on stage and thought, oh, like people really didn't like that, like the new album, and like you can sort of tell there's an apprehension in the audience. But then like some shows, like fucking last night was insane. Like in the middle of Zurich, just like people like playing this new album, which is like quite different to all the other stuff, and just people absolutely like going mad for it. There's a guy stood in front of Joe. You see like for the full gig, just being like that for like 95 minutes, which was.
So I'm free to go.
Yeah. Lose your shit.
Okay.
But I think that's the thing. It's been so nice to see. You know, we have had this apprehension of people might not get it and people might not like it, but to see, people embrace this new sort of style and sound, and also just like get lost in it as much as we have. It's been fucking amazing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like say that there was a bit of stigma around the like leaving the shoegaze sound or whatever. But I've seen so many people be like dragging shoegaze into like a new territory, which I feel like is real nice for like old shoegaze fans to, I don't know, appreciate and accept that we're doing that, even though that was not the intention at all. We're not like trying to pioneer a genre that's already pioneered. Like it's just like to see people like have that response to something you're doing is like really, yeah.
It's a funny idea that people even care, isn't it? That we're like,
Yeah. I
don't like going electric, is it? It's it's bedroom.
Bedroom going electric. Well, yeah, I think that's the thing as well. It's been so fun to just sort of embrace it and enjoy it as friends, and I fucking love playing together. And that's why it's so funny when people get upset about it, because it's just like we're just having loads of fun, and you're just like sad that we're having fun.
New direction, lads. Sorry, mate. Sorry about that.
Get back to Tesco.
This is a very good picture. What you will be watching later.
But yeah, it's going really well.
No, because I was thinking like, yeah, there are some songs that are like really super dark, like in sense of it, and then you have songs like this Disappointment, which are sort of I reminds me something like 80s so much, like make me want to sing. By the way, so I think I was really thinking about how should I act, like. Okay, so. Very last question, just to close up. And if you need to identify one of your songs in your album, what will you choose? Like the must-be bedroom one.
I think snares. Yeah, it's just like playing it live. It's just like completely changes the whole like dynamic of the room, like because it's just so full on like rave territory, which is like we didn't expect to. Like write an electronic song, but I think that is the most like just pure electronic. So I feel like this is one that we've got the most response from, and the one that makes me want to like fucking like get into it a lot more.
Yeah, you can feel the room come alive when we play it. It's funny,
It was just the way it did it. Just cool on that.
Anyway, yeah, the room.
I would think about it when you
comes
play it, actually.
the room comes alive anyway. But no, it's just such a pleasure to see these, see people really react to that song, especially, writing it was such a long process, and it was one of those tunes where, specifically, like when I was listening to the record, I was so apprehensive about it going on because I thought people might not really understand it, but I'm glad that they did.
It's very interesting you making an album but thinking that people won't understand, but yeah, you did it.
We understand. We understand that.
Anyway. And yes, I would think about
What you just was saying to everyone? Oh, dude, sorry. I'm so sorry.
I think we're closing this.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
If you want to say something to the Italian people, that would be great.
Io sono l'uomo Mella.
Bye.
Bye.